Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in Nigeria's Commercial Nerve Center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. It's the first weekend of the year, and as you settle in to unwind at home for the weekend, and of course somewhere else, it may be, thanks for keeping your TV on Channels Television as we continue to curate and track happenings in the polity. And tonight, we kick off from Ondo State, where it appears the posture of the political class and the All Progressives Congress is causing unease among the stakeholders. Perhaps it's why a socio-political group under the aegis of Ondo Elite Group has warned against any attempt to tamper with the political structure in that state to avoid what they consider a potential disaster. In a statement by the group's General Secretary Chief, Mr. Yemi Oladiran, he advised the new governor of the state, Mr. Lucky Ayedatiwa, to rally the party and close gaps occasioned by disagreements among interests. Mr. Oladiran explains that tension is gradually brewing in the state APC over a plan by some sections who are eyeing the top job to replace the party leadership. The group maintains that those planning to dissolve the APC executive lack the power to constitute or dissolve a state executive. Now, the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, says the negotiation for a new minimum wage between the federal government and the organized labor will be finalized before March this year. Ajero explains that the existing minimum wage expires by March 2024, and all things being equal, barring any last-minute changes, a new minimum wage, the president calls a living wage proposal, should be implemented the following month. He adds that, in his words, the federal government has, through a letter, asked the organized labor to release our names to the new minimum wage committee to be constituted. Since last year, the list was submitted to the government, and it is only when the committee is constituted that we know we're now going to negotiation with the government as a union to agree on what will be the final minimum wage. And rather, on a solemn note, we did talk about Ondo State. And going back to Ondo State, the body of the former governor of the state, Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, has arrived in Nigeria. It was received at the private wing of the Murtala International Airport, Lagos, this afternoon by his widow, Mrs. Betty Akeredolu, and other family members. The body was flown in from Germany, where the former governor had gone for a medical treatment. According to close sources, he will be kept in a private morgue ahead of the funeral expected to take place in the second week of February. Well, our thoughts and our prayers remain with the family of the Akeredolu. But let's now go on to find out what other stories are happening in the political space in our political roundup stories.
The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Senator Heineken Lokobiri, says there is still hope that the Department of Petroleum Resources revoke license for OML 46, known as Atalia oil field, belonging to Bayelsa State, will be returned to the state. Senator Lokobiri was speaking during a custom visit to Governor Dore Diri in Yanagwa, the state capital. He, however, expressed his regret that the Atalia oil field, a common patrimony of the state, was taken away and promised to do everything within his power to bring back the asset. On his part, Governor Dore Diri, while congratulating Lokobiri on his appointment, assures of his administration's preparedness to partner with the federal government to check oil theft and illegal bunkering, which had adversely affected the ecosystem.
We are determined to do things differently so that we can get different results. And I've also contended at all times that the level of pollution we have in our state, if nothing is done, that will be an existential problem.
The way you have started, please continue with it. And we are prepared as a government to collaborate with the Bola Tinubu-led federal government.
Senator Magnus Abe of the All Progressive Congress says that its defection from the Social Democratic Party SDP to the APC would not cause any friction within the party. Abe, who represented River South East Senatorial District, later emerged the governorship candidate of the SDP in the 2023 election. Addressing journalists in Port Harcourt, Mr. Abe says he rejoined the APC to support the government of President Tinubu and to ensure development in Rivers State. Addressing concerns about potential power struggles within the party, Abe dismissed speculation that his move would create political unrest in the APC in the state. As residents of Kano State await the Supreme Court judgment on the governorship election, a group of women in the state are appealing to stakeholders to ensure peace. Addressing journalists in Kano, the leader of the group, Ms. Tina Michael, believes that the judgment will be in favor of Governor Abba Yusuf.
Join our faith in prayers and solidarity with the executive governor of Kano State, His Excellency Abba Kabir Yusuf, and the good people of Kano State during these trying times to advocate for justice, peace, and fairness.
Welcome back. Those are your political roundup stories as we've tracked them across the country. And of course, tonight on the show, we will be focusing on the state of the nation. And who else can help us assess the state of the nation than elder statesman himself? And he's going to do justice to the conversation as I pose questions to him as we look at different parts of what is going on in our country, Nigeria. I'm being joined on the program via Zoom all the way from the United Kingdom, the founding member and member of the Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Bode George. Chief George, thank you so much for coming on the program, sir.
Happy New Year, and it's always my pleasure to be with you guys and bear my mind with fellow Nigerians.
I must say Happy New Year as well, and you look quite good. Let's begin on. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, it's pretty cold out here. So yeah,
I can see that.
It's not a lot of fun, but it was, I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, getting closer to 80 and you're still feeling like this, then you give thanks to God Almighty. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Perhaps it's also a good place to have your thoughts. We just got reminded again that Rotimi Akeredolu died. His body just arrived today. Seeing those pictures is just a very solemn reminder of our humanity. I just wanted your thoughts on this particular incident. Maybe what you say to the family at this time.
Yeah. I've sent my condolences and I share my thoughts with him. It's a lesson for those who are still alive, especially when you decide you want to take part in public activities and you showed some concern about leading your people, meaning that you are ready to utilize the resources of the land for the benefit of the people. That's basically what you are doing if you are coming to public office. One thing that stands out on him is the issue of the security, the internal security. I remember that time he led the team. He was bold, of course, as a lawyer. He was bold. He was honest. He was driving the unity of the Southwest, that we had to make sure that we set up, an Amotekun, in other words, that the national police cannot cope with the demands of keeping the lives and properties of the people at the lower level. And so I watched him and I saw his participation, and he would ever be remembered for that. And one of the things I even am projecting that this government must do, look at the insecurity in the land. What is the population of the national security? The policemen, the national police, they can't cope. So the need to have a state police is a must. We are just rambling and turning and playing politics with it. Nobody is going to remove the national police. We copy the American system. If you copy something, copy it properly. They have the national police, which is the FBI. They have the state police. They even have county police, in other words, local government police. So it comes to a situation where you need this. We have expanded so much, and we needed that to be able to fill the gap, to keep lives and properties of people safe. So that will go. I mean, it stands out, explicitly on him that he championed it, he fought for it as a lawyer, and it has been established, and we should put that in his name. No doubt in my mind.
Chief, apparently
Yes.
you have checked one of my boxes for the questions I have for you based on our conversation tonight. But I may have to take you a little back, and then we move forward again as far as this issue is concerned. So I know you've been very clear with your position on the verdict of the Supreme Court in the last presidential election. Although you respect it, you clearly showed where you disagreed in terms of that verdict. So how has that affected, in your view, your relationship and perception of the President Bola Tinubu's administration, or President Bola Tinubu himself, in the past 8 months?
Yeah, we had always been on the political jigsaw, always on not on the same side, but on opposite side. But we are now on the threshold of the unknown. This is the beginning of a new year. The state of our nation has been completely in a shambolic situation. It is perpetual despair and despondency. There is hunger in the land, and there is anger in the land. The insecurity has gone beyond control. So when you look at all those things, we are all Nigerians. And I listened to the annual speech, the New Year's speech. And I also listened to what Chief Oshoba said. This is not the time to play politics. It's our nation. When you hear people taking physical cash, 500 billion, 2 billion, 5 billion into personal accounts, cash, in this present day Nigeria, what is going on? It is baffling. It makes my heart bleed. How can you? I mean, are we in the Stone Age? So he has a hell of a lot of work to do. And I have listened to him. He has these 8 objectives for the year: national defense, internal security, job creation, macro. Hey, the man who left, who was my Oga, did a very woeful job. He did not do well at all. They belong to the same party. So we all, Nigerians, let's give him a chance. Chief Oshoba said, look, it's too early to start asking questions. Yeah, it is too early to start. Let's give him time. Let's see how he's going to handle it. But he hasn't, today is 5th, I think.
Yes, sir.
They have already started discovering somebody putting that kind of much amount of money in a personal account. What kind of voodoo economics? Who are these characters? Who will release that kind of cash to people? I even listened to Oshibaju when he was trying to extricate himself. What was he talking about? I mean, look, Bola Tinubu, God will help him. He is in the hottest seat in the whole of Africa today. Because for every 10 Africans, 6 are Nigerians. Brilliant people. No, so nobody can pull any wool over our eyes. I pray for him. I pray for our country. And all this insecurity, what is causing it? Is it religion or hunger?
Chief Judge, if I may butt in, you're beginning to get specific. So let's hit on specifics because, of course, you're already doing an assessment of his administration 7 or 8 months down the line because he doesn't have the luxury of time. 4 years is a very short period. Before you know it's over, we start talking about the next election, who is running where and all of that. Politics take over. So technically, people see that an administration that just started has primarily about 2+ years to do governance. The rest maybe on politics. So I wanted to find out from you. Let's deal with security. In what exactly, in terms of specific, would you expect the president to do? We saw the carnage on the plateau. We've seen killings in Taraba. We've seen killings in southern Kaduna. We've seen killings recently. So what exactly? Some are saying more boots on the ground. Others are saying this or that. So what are you saying, given your background in this area?
Look, you need equipment. You need surveillance. You need, look, the technology available now wasn't available at our time. So it will be a combination of modern technology, put cameras, put surveillance cameras all over like they do here in England. You don't have to physically be there, but you monitor from your control room things that are happening without anybody physically being there. But the cameras are there. The air surveillance must also be there. So if our people cannot afford, you see, because one, we concentrated every control of the police on the seat of the IG. It cannot work. You need every state to have its own policemen on ground. Whatever it's going to cost us, these are, ideas. How many can you, because police work is purely communal work. And if you want to do community work, it means you will employ people from that community to be the policemen. They know themselves, they know the language, they know the culture, they know the people who is here or who is not there. So when they find somebody unusual, they can tell you, what do you want here? And authoritatively, they know. So we need a combination of all those. Rather than wasting money and stealing money and saying you are giving people, security of lives and property is the #1 job for anybody in government. Once that is secured, then you can go to the lower level of what you want to do for the people. But without securing their lives, who is safe? Who you even know who is after you? Look, I am sure he has some men there now. Nuru Ribadu is there. They can look for states, commit states to have these surveillance cameras. So once you are not there, of course, if you have surveillance cameras and not without the infrared, you don't have power to fire them again. You see the interconnection. We need surveillance cameras. Electricity must fire them, or you have the solar to fire them. Things have to be done, and it cannot be in a year or 2 years. But they must start it now. Let the people see that you are doing something. Not just go there, the accountant general release another 2 billion somebody into a private account. It is madness, absolute madness.
So Chief Judge, if I may, that maybe this will bring me to the broader question. Are you saying, in essence, by talking about the state police, which I'm sure you've been consistent on, it brings us to the broader question of restructuring Nigeria?
Absolutely. Now, I am so happy that, in fact, the former INEC professor, I've forgotten his name, also mentioned Dahiru Jega. Yes, he himself said, for the first time, That's a Fulani man saying, look, this country, what we had seen during the Buhari administration and all that, because our colleagues in the north are not seeing it that way, some of them. But we must restructure this country. The constitution we are running is completely military. How do you now sustain just one man in Abuja to be controlling all the corners of Nigeria? It's rather impossible. Every month, every state heads to Abuja to go and chop all the money there, and then you come back home. Devolve power to the state. Let the people feel that this governor that we have here, if you don't perform, you are at our call and beg. We are not going to know Abuja. Whatever the resources we have here, we will maximize the resources for the benefit of the people. Look at the way they chop the local government. Lagos State is the largest, in terms of population. But what is the number of local governments that we have? 20 local governments. Next in population is Kano. Kano has 44 local governments. And every local government gets something from the federation account. Where is justice? Where is fairness? Let us remain. I believe that Nigeria must exist, but it must exist with justice, with fairness, and equity. What is good for the goose must be good for the gander. You cannot be paying lip service to it. It's irrespective of the political parties. We must restructure. We must throw away this nonsense constitution we're running. I served in the military. I was trained in the military, and you see the kind of system we have is from top to bottom. Military, you have only one boss, the chief. And if he gives you directives and you don't comply with it, you are in trouble. But in democracy, the power must come from the base upwards. That is why the way we are even doing and running all these electoral activities, totally shambolic. You look at the pre-election maneuvers, the campaigns, the movements. Then on the day of the election, all the wahala by the people voting and counting and all that, and then you disagree with the results, then maybe 7 or 3 at the appeal court, 7 at the Supreme Court, will now decide who is to be the president, who is to be the Senate president, or the senator, or the House of Rep, or governor. That doesn't sound well. What have you done with the powers of the people? The best they should do in any court of law is to send you back. Once they are satisfied that this thing didn't follow all the procedure, go back and do it again. So Chief, you see, from one step, from one mistake to another mistake, and we are aggravating and expanding the mess. So it has engulfed us now. Most of those people who are there went through court. The judiciary now decided who should be the leader of the people. Did the people really vote for him? Let the people decide. Let the will of the people be respected. You cannot continue. We can't continue Nigeria. Look, right now in Europe, people are looking down on Nigeria. People are looking down on us. Look at Kenya. Kenya is now a responsible, respectable country. Look at Gambia held elections. All these other little places held elections. It is not the Supreme Court who will decide for them.
All right, Chief George, if I may butt in, I'm going to stay on this for a few more minutes because there's a lot of questions I want to ask you. Is State of the Nation, as an elder statesman, there's a lot we need to glean from you in terms of your perspective. But before I leave off this issue, some people have said, when it comes to changing the Constitution, the National Assembly rely on Section 8 and 9 to do amendment. And people like the learned Olisa Bakoba said, look, we don't need amendment. We need a replacement. Literally, that's what he's saying, relying on Section 4, 1, 2, and 4 of the Constitution. But some people have also argued that if you're trying to replace the Constitution, because he held that, look, our Constitution, in his view, is just a schedule attached to an act. So just pull that schedule out, do what you can, and replace it. Well, those are legal, technical terms. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just interpreting what he's trying to say. But the argument some people are making is that, what about that interregnum? What happens between that change, where you're trying to make that change, as against how the state will be run in between all of that? So what will be your reaction for those of you who are advocating for a total scrapping of this Constitution and a total replacement?
You know, what I said, and I want to remind our people, I was privileged to have been a member of the Constitutional Conference under President Jonathan. President Jonathan, he will go down in history as a very, very respectable, responsible, reliable, committed Nigerian who set up that Constitutional Conference. We took the present Constitution, x-rayed it, and we looked at it, what can be amended, what is working, what cannot work. And at the end of the session, I think we spent about 6 months there, something had been done on the current Constitution. And God bless the then chairman of, he's late now, Justice Kutigi, and Professor was the professor from Osun State, was Abolaji. Yeah, he was the deputy chairman. And who was who? The military, the civilians, the elders, the youths, all kinds of people were there. And at every plenary session, at the final discussion, everything that was approved was put to vote. And it was unanimously agreed. When Jonathan took that vote, and then when we concluded that conference, a report for the first time, the civilian administration took on the Constitution of Nigeria. We x-rayed it. We submitted a report. The report is still there in the villa. So don't let everybody tell us that, oh, you want to start all over again. What are you starting all over again? Get that report. Let them start working. Those in the National Assembly, if they are not there just to deceive themselves, because someday they are going to leave that Senate, their positions, and come back to roast at home. This thing is not working. Today they are there, pretending that they are working, they are doing it. It's not working. We must reduce the powers at the center. Jonathan submitted that report to President Buhari. President Buhari said, look, put it in the archives. He's not interested. But it is now so obvious that unless we do something about this, this country is going into the bottom of the sea. Nothing is working. I listened to all the objectives of Bola for the 2024. You see, at the end of God making all to be alive, you will find out that it has achieved nothing. It has achieved. It will. I'm not praying that it will not achieve one or two things. But the thing he listed here with the current constitution, it is not working. And now the problem is all over Nigeria. Whether you are in the north, or you are from the south, or you're from the east, or from the west, it is not working. It is just a bragado of a few people to stonewall, and then to drive this thing down our throat.
All right, Chief, if I'm important,
what is the business of Abuja in Lagos Island? What is the business of Abuja in Kano? What's the business of Abuja in Sokoto or Maiduguri or Calabar or Port Harcourt?
Chief, if I
Let
may,
the will of the people.
Sorry, sir. If I may butt in, Chief George,
yes.
which brings me to the next question. Each time you listen to the president, since he started speaking to the nation through broadcast or nationwide broadcast, he's always mentioning the fact that the country should be patient, that we're going to face difficult times before we enjoy in the future. Do you agree? Do you see that? Should Nigerians take it from him as their president, knowing that, okay, he knows exactly what he's doing? Everybody wanted fuel subsidy to go. Everybody wanted us not to have parallel market. We should have one uniform market. He's put those reforms in place. And he said these reforms will hurt the system for a bit. But give it time, he's going to work itself out, and Nigerians will be better for it. Do you agree?
No, I don't. I don't look at crystal ball. I have been there. I have been in the military. And I have been in the civilian administrations. I have campaigned from the swampy forest in the south to the savanna regions in the north. The country is in a terrible despondency. There is no amount of manipulation and all this trying to now, if a system is not working, no matter how much patch you think you can slam this to this to, you are just patching up. It won't take a strong wind to blow it into pieces. Let us be serious, for God's sake. Look, now today is there, Mr. President. What he will be remembered for, because whether he likes it or not, there will be, time when if you leave. And when he leaves, people will now x-ray his period. Did he put something positive to impact on the people, or his impact on the people brought more damages to the lives and properties of our people? What about the future generation? Look at the amount of money from the central bank into private pockets, from the central bank into private enterprises. Is that a system? Is that a system that is working? Look, the amount of debt portfolio we have now, who is going to pay? Who? The younger generations?
Chief, sometimes, now, my apologies for butting in, Chief. Sometimes, although that has toned down in this administration, I've not heard them say that much. But the previous administration had always said that, look, the PDP as well did its own damage to the country. They are trying to just fix some of the things that your party did in terms of putting us where we are.
Okay. Now, PDP, now you want me to be a little bit biased. What PDP did to that nation, if you compare it with what the APC did in their 8 years and about 7 months, it's a world of difference. Because, one, the PDP with their economic plans, the World Bank, the leaders of the first world saw that there is some kind of sensibilities and not jokers who are to man our economic platforms. They gave us and allowed us, they wrote off all the debts. What is the debt portfolio of Nigeria today? What is the debt portfolio of Nigeria today? It is heart-wrenching. How did we come to that level? And what did they do with the money? One thing that our people have forgotten, it's the technology now is so easy. Every country, all the top levels everywhere, they can, no matter where you hide the money, they can zero in on that money and know what you have done with the money. They knew we didn't really spend all the money they borrowed on useful things. They saw where all those money were flying, and in the accounts where they are, they know. So who will lend us money now? We are going to Afro-Exim Bank because we have the highest share in Afro-Exim Bank. That's why Afro-Exim Bank can lend us money. And the money we are owing, and the money that has been found in the accounts of certain people. Why? What are we doing about that? Why should we continue like that? Look at these two just humanitarian, whatever they call them, that have just been appointed in 2 months. Look at what they have done with the money. How do you access federal government money that easy? How? When people are suffering, and what, no matter what programs he wants to do from the villa, if he has not sealed those leakages, we're wasting our time.
Chief
and
Judge,
it won't work.
Chief Judge, sir, I did say that I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. We're totally getting out of time.
Yes.
So let me throw in, since we're talking about the administration of the PDP and the APC, people have said that, look, what you're saying is supposed to be how the PDP is supposed to rally itself and be that formidable opposition. But what we see in the PDP now is lone voices. You're speaking from here, another individual may be speaking from here, but there's not an aggregated strength of voices coming together to stand as a strong opposition. In fact, the Labour Party is now saying they are the lead opposition. So does this mean that the PDP is not doing its job in holding the powerful to account, the government in power, given what you're saying?
Yes, I want to agree with you on that level. You know, there is no organization anywhere in the world that will not have their downtime and their uptime. Now, the founding fathers sat together. They were committed. They were loyal. They conceptualized a system. Our party has a mission and a plan. The way it was conceptualized and drew up certain tenets that must be followed to the bone if this nation is to grow were all laid out. But human beings, personal ambition came into it, and the ability of a party to be able to rise above these personalized ambitions and the non-entities, you know, will be a measure of your responsibility as a party. Now, we had this experience now. I sat back and I looked at it. I looked at those old men who sat together and established the People's Democratic Party. Baba Alex Ekweme, Chibola Igi, Papa from Jos, and then, you know, Professor Aminu, Papa, some of them, I mean, they call themselves the G40. Few of them are still alive. I think Papa Tuko is still alive. We're lucky that we still have one or two of them that are still alive. Let's go there and learn. What broke the back of our party was the inordinate ambition of some people who took the party as if it's a private enterprise. And the moment you think you are bigger or you can manipulate the party for your own ambition, that's it. That's why we are now straight down to the bottom. But we can resuscitate it because the tenets that established the party were not yet out. We will. And God, you know, being on my side, as long as I am alive, all those people, all those ambitious people, we will talk at the meeting. Any day the National Working Committee calls a meeting and tell ourselves some serious home truths. What happened? Buhari spent 8 years. Automatically, by the principle of the party, he should go down to the south to have the next president. 8 years, it must be in the south. So now, 2027, I've started hearing some people. We saw what happened. They deceived us. We deceived ourselves. We thought we were bigger and larger than anybody else. Where did we find ourselves? They deceived us. Bam! On the deck, we fell. Okay. Now, is that not enough for everybody to go back, put their thinking caps on, and let's go the way it was designed by the founding fathers? And I said it, and I'm not hiding it. If we sit down again for 2027, well, the party must support a candidate from the South for another 4 years.
That's a very good place to conclude your thoughts.
They must support the party for the South for another 4 years. After that, anybody who wants to come up in the North can come, in 2031.
All right.
Anything less than that is hellish. So our party, it is the personalization of the party that led us to where we are. We will revamp. We will. We have plans.
Chief Judge, I must thank you. That's a very good place. Clearly, from what you said, everybody who is involved in this crisis or quagmire, or maybe not quagmire, or this division, as it may, is getting the message you are passing across. But we must thank you. We're totally out of time. We must thank you. Definitely, we're going to come back and we're going to bring you back to talk about the issues around the PDP going forward, because there's a lot to talk about within your party. We just needed to scratch the surface and see how it goes. Chief Olabode George, founding member, Board of Trustees of the People's Democratic Party, joined us to assess the state of the nation all the way from the United Kingdom there in London. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program. We appreciate
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a wonderful week. And I keep praying for our country. We will get there. We'll get there. Thank you, sir. You.
All right. Well, when we come back after this break, we will switch gears to Ondo State. There's something brewing in the People's Democratic Party. I'll bring you all the details. We'll be joined by one of the executive members of the party in the state as we explore what exactly is happening in Ondo PDP. Join us again. Welcome back. The crisis rocking the Ondo chapter of the People's Democratic Party may not be ending quite soon, as the state executive has defiled the order of the National Working Committee with the appointment of the state deputy chairman, Tola Alabere, as the acting chairman. The announcement was made after a meeting of the State Executive Council at the party secretariat in Akure, the state capital. The state executive explained that the development became necessary to avoid any vacuum following the suspension of his chairman, Fatai, that's Mr. Fatai Adams. However, the appointment of Mr. Alabere was ratified by 9 of the 11 members of the State Working Committee. Well, trouble started for the suspended chairman earlier in the week when the State Working Committee accused Mr. Adams of what they consider anti-party activities and actions they say are likely to bring the party in the state into disrepute, and directed him to appear before the State Disciplinary Committee of the party within a week for further interrogation. I've been joined on the program. Let's talk about this particular issue even a bit further. We've been joined by the PDP Publicity Secretary in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Perete. Mr. Kennedy, thank you so much for coming on the program. Can you hear me, Mr. Kennedy?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
All right. So because we don't have the luxury of time, due to technology, we've taken so much time. Give us a backstory of this back and forth between the state executive and the National Working Committee that led to the suspension of Mr. Fatai Adams and the appointment of another chairman in this capacity.
Good evening, and thanks for having me this evening. The important fact here is that there are two elections, major elections we're having this year. The by-election coming up in February and the governorship election coming up in November this year. Now, ordinarily, there shouldn't have been any cause for alarm, but in the build-up to this by-election, we find out that the former state chairman, Fatai Adams, was doing some movements that were becoming very suspicious because we didn't want a kind of rancorous primaries. So the state executive committee decided that we are going to get something like a consensus, and a committee of 20 men made up of men of timber and caliber in that federal constituency to give us a report. And the committee reported that there were several aspirants who were graded from position 1 to 7. And we agreed that if that was the recommendation of the 20-man committee, then the person who came first, that is Leko Bada, should be nominated as a consensus candidate. But the chairman, in his own wisdom, wanted a situation whereby the man who came third in the rating of the 20-man committee should become the candidate of the party. And we said no. So you can see the signatures of 9 out of 10 of the working committee members asking Mr. Fatai Adams to step aside so that we can go ahead with the view of the majority. Now, yesterday, the State Executive Committee, which oversees the State Working Committee, also gave approval to Mr. Fatai Adams' suspension. So, about going back and forth with the National Executive Committee, we don't have any issues with the National Executive Committee because the point is that we have our own functions. The National Working Committee has its own functions. Now, so what we have done is strictly in accordance with our constitution.
All right, Mr. Perrottet, because I just said because of time, so I want to throw as many questions in as possible. Some will see this as an affront on the NWC. For those who see it that way, what will be your reaction?
Certainly, it's not an affront. It is not an affront. The State Executive Committee has capacity according to our constitution, and specifically Section 57, subsection 3, gives us the opportunity to discipline anybody at the level in which that person is performing. So if the National Executive Committee says we have gone beyond our powers, it will not be true. And the statement issued by Ologbaga did not point that area of the Constitution which says we were not doing what we were supposed to do. We were quoting around sections of the Constitution which gave us power to do what we did. So it was nothing like altercation or saying that we are going against what National Committee wants us to do. No, very far from that.
But isn't it worrying that going into your very first election, which would be like perhaps your first litmus test in whether you can, succeed in winning an election in February or February the 3rd, you're going in as a divided house. Wouldn't that affect your chances at the end of the day?
In the list, we are not divided at all. If there are 9 persons saying the same thing against one person, then you should know that the 9 are in the majority. And in the committee of 20, they recommended, all the aspirants endorsed, agreed that the committee of 20-man report should be adopted. And they were going to agree with the decisions of the 20-man committee. So that's not division in any kind. It's only the chairman that is trying to constitute himself into the club in the wheel of progress. And that's why he has been removed. He has not been removed, he's been suspended. And depending on the outcome of the decision of the disciplinary committee.
Do you think anybody, maybe a fifth columnist or somebody is behind the chairman backing him to be able to want to pull that weight against all of you who are in the executive that you maybe want to share with us?
That is a suspicion. That is suspicion. The party believes very strongly that the state chairman or the former state chairman is being sponsored to cause disaffection in the party. And that is what they must clear with the disciplinary committee as to whether indeed is found culpable in these allegations of challenges.
So let's put it on record. As a party, you are going into the by-election with a consensus candidate. You will not have maybe primary election, direct primaries or indirect. It's consensus you're adopting. Is that the view of the greater majority of the party in the state besides the executive themselves?
Exactly so. Exactly so. That was the basis of the 20-man committee, because in 2021 we had something similar to that. We lost a member of House of Rep. There was going to be a primary, a by-election, and we, went into a primary election, which became so rancorous, and we lost that election. So we are learning from our own experience that if we go into this election with a consensus candidate, we are most likely to win. And that is what the chairman is saying we should not do. So the State Executive Committee unanimously endorsed the decision of the State Working Committee. And that is where, it will be difficult for the National Working Committee to say anything to the contrary. But we're talking about a democracy. It's about numbers. It's about people.
I must thank you so much. PDP Publicity Secretary in Ondo State, Mr. Kennedy Perete, coming on the program to explain to us what exactly is going on in terms of the leadership of your party. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you so much.
And we must thank you, our very esteemed audience. It's been a fantastic journey, so thank you so much for your time and company. The weekend is here, so go out there, have as much fun as you want to have, responsibly, I must say. But thank you for your time, and of course, I always say your company. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. Good night, and God bless Nigeria.